שבטחים גם יחד. So I can hear you. שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבטחים גם יחד. Decide how you're going to break it up. Can we have these guys stay on the first, and you guys start the second part? Can you do that? You know what I'm saying? So whoever just came in. שבטחים גם יחד. שבטחים גם יחד. Stay there. שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב מנהלים, שבטחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב מנהלים, שבטחים גם I know we're just warming up right now, but so you don't have to go. I know. Be careful when I ask Marilyn.
I'm holding back because I'm always because you're always giving me the side eye. I'm like,
No, when I go like this, but no, on that I want them to hear you. That way you don't have to move up to the mic, and like I said, this is gonna pick you guys up.
Yeah, and we're just doing it all from back here, right?
Yep. Let's do that. And like I said, I'll pull back a little bit.
Yeah, this will work. We're actually being filmed. Yeah, we just started it out. So, but unless they show them close. And we wish Shabbat Shalom to our virtual congregation. We just are going to get a family to join us, and we will begin shortly.
You want me to go give it to your hand? You give it to him, okay.
Actually, she did. No, I told you the story, you know, for his bar mitzvah, we used to go around and grab the kids on Saturday. He doesn't remember this, I'm sure. Now, Alan.
Shabbat stays until we get the next day.
Very good.
We are on.
Shabbat Shalom. We have already welcomed our YouTube family who are following and joining from afar, and we welcome our congregation and the Rose and Barmore families here to celebrate a wonderful occasion, which is the Shabbat of the B'nai Mitzvah of Max and Miriam. And so we have a short Kabbalat Shabbat service to open and begin this wonderful occasion. We celebrate that together and look forward to a wonderful day of worship and study and celebration tomorrow as well. So as in the words of the psalmists, we begin with how wonderful that we are all together. Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. And we know it's sundown somewhere, and therefore we kindle the lights of Shabbat. I think that Miriam is going to invite up her mother. How about some grandmas? How about some grandmothers? To kindle the lights of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Hugs and kisses all the way around. And we continue with the Barhu, our call to worship, on page 2. We rise. Eternal God, whose temple is the whole world and whose dwelling place is the human heart, we know that you are everywhere and that your presence never leaves us. Together, yet we are thankful for appointed times and chosen places where in fellowship with one another, our spirits turn to you. At this service, at this hour, and in this place, help us to feel your nearness. The week of toil is ended, the day of rest has come, and we pause to reflect on the meaning of our lives. Source of all creation, you have given us the blessing of work so that by our efforts we may fashion things and use moments of helpfulness. You have also given us Shabbat for self-renewal and sanctification. May the work of our hands and minds be acceptable to you. May this Shabbat enrich our lives, drawing us closer to you in truth and in love. We continue with the statement, the affirmation of our Jewish faith, the Shema. Please be seated, and we continue with the first paragraph of the Shema as it appears in Devarim in Deuteronomy. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayula totafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. And indeed, this weekend, right after Pesach, we've celebrated our freedom, the freedom that we achieved so many years ago. And now for the next year until next Pesach, we will work to bring freedom for the entire world with the song of victory that when we are free, we say, Mi chamocha, who is like you, God, who allows us the sacred work of repairing the world, bringing freedom to all. Who is like you, O God, among all the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, and doing wonders? Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. Zeh Eli, this is our God, they cried. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, God will rule forever and ever. And we turn to our Amidah on page 4 and rise together. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur Bahanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zocher Haste Avot V'imahot Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Laman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atarav Lahoshia Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim So make no flim B'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umakayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidol Melach Melech Memit Umachayeh Biat Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. And we are seated. We believe in tomorrow. We believe that we have the power to make tomorrow different from today. We believe that poverty need not be permanent and that people need not learn war forever. We believe in people despite all that we know about them. We believe that there can still be a time of peace, a time of justice, a time of fellowship, and a time of tranquility for all who live on earth. We believe that we can have a share in bringing that day closer by the way in which we live in the week to come. Even though the world may smile at our dreams, it does not matter. We still believe. We take a moment now for our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, great peace. Shower it upon us, O eternal God. And we take this moment to pray for shalom for individuals in our community who are in need of strength, of healing, of wholeness, and of rifu'ah shlema. If you have someone for whom you would like to mention, at this point we will add them to our list and consider their names part of our Temple Beth Or family.
Dave Fuchs and Mark Kocharski.
Arlene Graham, and then Cheryl Knowles.
Carlos Scherer.
Randy Gray.
Jude Beckerman.
We also add to our list the entire Michelson family ward, and Elaine Michelson, Martin Robbins, also Ira Segalowitz, I think, who has been a little under the weather and can't join us today, as well as Eva Claire, Benji Klein, Madeline Ammons, Dr. Steve Cohen. If there's anyone we have for Sydney Lewick in our postings here. If there's any other names that you think of, please post them in our comments, and we will mention them after the Misha Berach. So if you are a social media person, no doubt on Facebook you have been barraged this week with images of strange looking challahs. Challahs that are made in the shape of a key called the Schlissel challah. But what is it? And certainly why didn't Lily or Alex make us one this week? I don't know. I guess they had other things on their plate. Each year on the first Sabbath after Passover, some Jews bake Schlissel challahs. It's either in the shape of a key, and I do have a picture, but I don't know if you can see it from there, or it is a regular challah with sesame seeds on the top in the shape of a key, or a key is either imprinted or put right in the challah. So it's sort of like your Mardi Gras King's Cake, where you get the baby. On the Passover, the Shabbat after Passover, you might bite into a key and go visit the dentist. Schlissel challahs are baked by Ashkenazic Jews. Those are Jews from Eastern Europe, and it gets the name from the German word Schlissel, which is key. Schlissel challah isn't mentioned in the Torah. It isn't mentioned in the Nevi'im or the Ketuvim. It's not in the Mishnah. It's not in the Talmud. No of the commentaries, early or late, mention it. Somehow it seems to have come to us very late. The Kabbalists in the 1700s came out at the rise of people like the Baal Shem Tov, and suddenly they introduced a concept which was called sigulot. A segula is a spiritual remedy. It's a talisman. It's a charm that is meant to bring us luck. The first mention of the Schlissel challah is in the 18th century commentary by Rabbi Avraham Joshua Heschel, but not ours, one in Poland. And he says that during Parashat Shmini, where they talk a little bit about manna, we should make this key-shaped challah. The question is, why a key after Passover? And we don't really know. There are many different traditions. Communities felt, among other things, that over Pesach, the gates of heaven were open. And so we have to hang on to the key so we can get back in after they close. The key was considered to have mystical, spiritual ideas that would give us livelihood. So this is called a segula for parnassah. God holds the key to our prosperity and our abundance, and baking it after Passover is symbolic. It says that God gave us manna in the wilderness while we were wandering, and after we reached the Holy Land, it is we who have to make our double portion. And so the key challah reminds us of that. It's not a law, it's just a custom. Just as we do round chalot for the new year, so on Pesach we have this key challah. Now, I don't know how many of you stayed home braiding. Maybe Helen did it. Not even Helen? Not even Helen, people. And so we know that some people do this and feel that it has great power, and other people look at it as an interesting, beautifying ritual. We have so many rituals like this that have come down to us. I'm told that if you eat the little pitom, or that little stem, off the etrog only after Sukkot, that you will have a baby boy that time by the next year. So be careful. Don't eat the etrog. Some people believe that if an infertile couple carries the baby into a bris, that will help them with their infertility. I just read the segula that if you buy your plot, your burial plot, it'll lengthen your life. You won't need it for a long time. And we all know about the red string that can tie around our arms to keep us from the evil eye, and even babies, it's supposed to protect them as well. However, the most interesting one that I found was that if you put a string around a chicken's neck, it will help to identify a thief. I don't know if it works. You'll have to ask the chicken. There was a lot of tension between superstitious ideas like this. Did they have power? Did they have strength? Many rabbis felt that yes, they literally have power. The mystics, the Chabad rabbis, love traditions and talisman like this. Other rabbis say this is superstitious, that God has the power, and what we wear or what we put or how we bake is not going to change the divine faith. The most famous segula that we probably all partake of and don't consider is the mezuzah. the doorposts, the sign, the prayers that sit on the doorposts of our gates. Indeed, Orthodox Jews, very Orthodox Jews, believe this does protect our homes. And I've heard many stories of couples who are arguing or having a terrible time checking their mezuzahs, finding out that a word had gotten blotted out, fixing their mezuzahs, and voila, their marriage is saved. People believe that this talisman has power to shape our lives. Other people say it's just foolishness, and at best it connects us to our ancestors or puts something beautiful on the doorposts. There are even some who say today we should take our mezuzahs off because it targets our home as a Jewish home, and in this venue and idea of anti-Semitism, who wants to do that? I don't know that I necessarily fall on either side. Does it work or does it not work? But perhaps it is the middle ground that makes the most sense. Most of us fall in that middle ground. We don't really believe that a key and a challah is going to give us an increase in salary. We believe not that it will change God's fate for us, but perhaps these ideas, like the mezuzah, can change us. If we transform these symbols and give it meaning, then they can speak to us. Mayim Bialik, the very famous neuroscientist, and we all know her for something different. She was the great niece of the wonderful Israeli poet Chaim Nachman Bialik. She was on Blossom, for those of us who are of a certain age. She was on Big Bang Theory, for others of us of another age. She is currently on Call Me Kat and is a Jeopardy host. But she reminds us that her mezuzah, she says, it reminds me what to keep in my house and what to keep out of my house. The mezuzah, she says, I choose for protection, a reminder that I am not alone. I have people and a strong heritage, and this object shows that I have boundaries. I keep out negativity, strife, fear, and shame. I keep in vastness, intimacy, safety, and comfort for me and my family. And so, Miriam and Max, I actually did something for you. I did not make you the key challah. But I added a key to your I will show this to the congregation because we hope, wherever this camera is, that this day is a key and an entryway for you too. That this is the beginning of your Jewish lives, where you hope you have all the protection and all the strength and all the blessings that God can give you. But most of all, that you and your brother Jake, who had his bar mitzvah not so long ago, continue with the strength of your ancestors, your parents, your family, who are all here to be a blessing for you, to support you, to love you, to write you some checks for Parnassah. And so we hope that today is the gateway and the key to a new life for you two as adults in our Jewish community, and indeed that you have the gateway and the opening to shalom, to peace, which we want for all of our families and all of our world. And so we turn to our closing prayers. The Aleinu on page 6 is a vision when we all indeed find our way to God and to one another. So we rise together. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula l'yotzeh b'reishit, shelo asanu goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam elkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu v'yom Adonai echad, u'shemo And we now turn our thoughts to those who mourn and those in our congregation whom we have lost, as well as the family members and the individuals who have been dear to us and came before us. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that is left of me is love, give me away. On this Shabbat, we mark the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of Harold Swillinger, Randy Goldstein, David Goldberg, Miriam Jacobson, Jacob Naaman, Shirley Conti, Joseph Sachs, Martin Summers, John D. Aldridge II, and the families here, of course, remember Leah Marie Karp. We are also sad in these last weeks to have lost Fred Eisenson and Benjamin Bo Michelson. Are there any other names that we mentioned for yahrzeit on this Shabbat? We gather them into our hearts and our own prayers, and for them we say the Kaddish prayer on page 7. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shamei rabbah, v'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala ubizman kariv imru, amen. Yehei shamei rabbo mivarach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudushat berichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who causes peace to reign in the heavens, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, on all the world, as we say, amen. And we are seated. Kabbalat Shabbat is our welcoming of the Sabbath, and we hope that everyone will be able to avail themselves of a wonderful Shabbat dinner and the opportunity to be together for many hours of joy and celebration, as we know that this family will. And so in honor of that, Max's great moment is to go up with dads and grandparents and anybody else for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Kiddush. And Max is very joyful. He's the joy of Shabbat and the fruit of the vine. But he's got to work for it. Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzav lanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzam imchilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh b'reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zeher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki banu b'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol Shabbat Kodshcha, B'Ahava Uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Or you can share it. Oh, no. That's the anti-segula. Oh. No problem. And the challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Take some. Yes. And our closing song, O say Shalom, our prayer for peace for the world and for all our people.
Ready.
O say Shalom Biroma. And we wish each other Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.